Thanks for stopping by. I'd like to preface this video by saying it is not a knitting tutorial, but it means to have something playing in the background while you work on your own knitting project. If you're like me and really enjoy having something on while you work, sometimes the content you like is very visually engaging and you're several hours in and haven't gotten nearly as far along in your project as you would have liked to. So that's where I come in. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. It is the same evening as the previous episode, but I had to strike while the iron was hot before I go into Betty Bye mode and do anything else this evening. After dinner, I was like, you know what? I think I'm better safe than sorry in filming tonight than trying to film tomorrow night because of some things that I learned about at my job that may take all of the energy out of me, and I'm already very, very tired. So I was like, let me just do some more videos with you guys and get some more content out there so we can continue with this project. This is the August knit along that we are doing. It's Mitt the Family. It's patterned by Neish Design. You can check it out for yourself in the description box below. You do have to buy it. It is not a free pattern, but it isn't expensive for me, so I'm hoping that if you are so inclined, you do participate, and you can jump in whenever you'd like. This is just the August thing until I'm done with it. And if you've watched the previous episodes, you can probably guess it's going to be a while because we have already messed up. And by we, I mean this girl right here. When is it ever an episode that everything goes 100% smoothly? It doesn't. I'm just kind of like a free spirit knitter. I don't even think that's accurate. I don't know what I am. I just like to do it, but I mess up a lot and sometimes I get bothered, but it's my own fault because I don't have the discipline to right my wrongs when I mess up. If it's enough that I'm just not like, I'll just keep knitting and I'm just gonna have this thing here and it's gonna look bad and it's gonna bother me, but I also am too lazy to rip it out and start over from the error, which is where we are today. Yesterday's episode I mentioned that I have clearly misread the pattern, or I am very confused by it because it says to do pattern work, but when it says to do the other thing, it's not the pattern. So I think they mean the actual pattern when they say work and pattern, even if it's the row that would not require the pattern itself, or at least the variation part of it. So now I have to do opposites. Now that I've realized that, I have to do opposites of what it's asking me to actually make it look like the pattern now. But looking ahead at what I wrote down, it doesn't look like it's going to be that big of a deal to just reverse those rows. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm sure all of you are well done by now, or at least done with this first mitten, but I'm still working on the first mitten because we're just working on this together and when time allows. Okay, so oh yeah. So I'll do what it's asking, opposite of what it's asking. And then when I knit I was gonna say sock too. When I knit my second mitten, I will pay attention to what I just learned. Also, I'll know then if I can incorporate my second color again to have my gusset be the accent. I'm trying to figure out what this gusset looks like because if I can isolate the yarn that I want just for that, I will. But at the moment it still wants me to keep knitting with the same color, or at least a continuation. It's not like when I knit the heel where I leave the stitches by themselves for a while, but when I get to that point, if I can, I will do that. Alright. This pattern also, it has instructions. Everything is listed as using DPNs, but I was getting a really bad gap between them because I had to start out with a purl and it's not working for me, so I switched to circulars. If you're jumping in now and aren't too sure why that is the reason. Okay, so the thumb part doesn't want me to do the pattern at all. I will not. Let's see. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. Try that. Go around. This should work. But if not, none to worry because these are for me, so it won't be the end of the world if I mess them up. This is a great time to experiment, figure things out, because then I will be able to do better next time. And this is extra yarn I have from a previous project, so I had no plans for this yarn. So it's perfect for destashing and trying to figure out a new pattern, because it's kind of already paid for itself with the other projects I worked on. The walls are like paper thin around here, so it's not hard to hear when other people are existing in the same building. Doing pattern work. Hopefully I get it right this time. Okay. Okay. did a couple rounds. Now it says repeat the previous 2 rounds. Okay. So now I just need to do like I was earlier. Okay. Hopefully this works. I'm feeling confident now. I just have to pay attention to what's going on between my stitch markers where I have identified the thumb. That is the big part. So we'll see how far we get today. Hopefully, because it's a small enough project, we can finish that one spot, but we'll see. This shouldn't be hard. Paws and pearls, girl, you need to get yourself together. Like, wow, this is a little sad, but it's okay. It's just yarn. It's not open heart surgery. You know, we're not delivering a baby, so we're cool. It's just yarn. I don't know, some reason I have this urge to go to Pottermore and see what house I belong to. Full disclosure, I have not read the series. I got maybe halfway, maybe a quarter way through the first book back when I was like in 5th grade. It was all the rage, and I was peer pressured into reading it. And I just couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to read it. I thought it was rather boring. So I never picked them up since. I have friends who are diehard Harry Potter fans. I have friends who, like, one summer when one of the really big books came out, like, spent a good day, maybe a week, just reading it. And then they would, like, call me on the phone. They're like, oh, Paws and Pearls, this book is amazing. And I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry. I know you wanted me to read it in 5th grade, and here we are, like 7th, 8th grade, and I'm still like, nope, still can't do it. Okay, so, but yeah, I'm kind of curious, like, even though I'm not a fan, I'm probably some kind of personality trait that belongs to one of the houses. Kind of like a Myers-Briggs test, but for Harry Potter world, Hogwarts world. And it's so funny because one of my coworkers is like a big fan too, and she'll ask me about something about like like she'll reference something, and I'm like, I didn't even watch the movies, ma'am. I'm so sorry. I cannot even contribute to this conversation. So, alright. So let me make sure I don't mess this part up, because this is where I'm adding some stitches for the thumb. And we did that. Okay. Now it says just repeat, but it doesn't say how. So I must have to just do that one more time, right? And then do it at the end. Okay. Okay. Like this. We're gonna see what happens here. My emotions keep changing every time I get to a point in this pattern, and I'm not even that far. I'm like, I don't know about this. But then I'm like, no, it's cool. It looks fine. And then I'm like, I don't know again. Not too sure. It's getting weird. I mean, at least it's going, because it's decay, because it's a small circumference, it is going by fast. I mean, considering the situation, it's going fast, but could be better. Something's itchy me. I don't know what it is. There's a piece of fuzz on my chin. Okay. So now we're gonna just do what we've been doing. Do my pattern. Let me know what kind of yarn are you using. If you're participating with us, what kind of yarn are you using for your project? Is it acrylic? Is it wool? Is it a blend? To know. Little fuzzies. That's probably some polyfill from the tiny cats I was working on, because I had my stash, or like my extra yarn, downstairs working on these, and then I'm like, oh, this would be good yarn to do the other project with, so I brought it upstairs, but it was sitting in like my little kit bag with my other scraps that I had been using for this project, or for the cat project, so it started getting little polyfill particles on it. So again, to there. thumb is just pearls. It's interesting. But I guess that makes sense, because if you're making a pearl just to extend these stitches in the middle here, then you would probably want to keep it the same. Okay, so just as I suspected, I didn't want to assume anything, but basically I have to start where I left off, as if the stitches in between the markers don't mean anything. So I just continue on the way I was. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this round as just the end of this segment, because it took me a while to figure out what I was doing. But now I kind of know. I still have to stop what I am up to when I get to the thumb part. But that is okay. Okay, we're making some progress. Look at that, we're getting there. I'm gonna go ahead and just start my first stitch so that I have closed my gap and kept my stitch marker in place. So there we go. Alright, yes, it's definitely like seed stitch, and thankfully, like where I messed up the pattern before I realized what was going on, it's if you're doing stuff with your hands, I don't think anyone's going to be staring at it. At least no one's going to be staring at me. So, especially for social distancing, there's no reason anyone needs to be close enough to see that I messed up on my own gloves. So, hey, I guess there's some good in that too. Oh, hey, my battery's almost dead. What do you know? Alright, so thank you so much for hanging out one more time. We're gonna go ahead and call it a day here, and I'll catch you tomorrow for another video where we continue to work on this project. Alright, see you then. Bye.